Hey everyone, this is Nicole coming to you with a video about when your horse moves away from the mounting block, what do we do? I decided to film this because I noticed this horse, when I would bring him up to the mounting block, would slowly step away and just show me that he has a little bit of a distaste with standing near it. So you can see, first thing I do is I ask him to stand square, or at least relatively square. So after he's standing in a position that I'm happy with, you'll see I touch the mounting block and then I touch the horse. The reason why I'm doing this is to just find a way to comfort him, because you'll see here in a moment that as he starts to take these steps backward, that's his way of telling me that I feel uncomfortable with this situation. So my goal is not to punish him for stepping away. My goal is to help him feel comfortable in the situation that I'm putting him in. So you'll see after he backed up, I waited one moment and now I'm bringing him forward again and replacing him by the mounting block. It's important that you incorporate some movement within this that is on your timing versus always him moving away and you chasing after him. You noticed before I just went with him and then we stopped and then we came forward and now we're just resting again. So now the next thing that I'm going to do is begin to pick up the mounting block and sit it down and create a little bit of a hollow sound with that block, because that is what it's going to sound like whenever I start climbing onto it and begin approaching him to mount. It's at this moment that I want you all to notice the difference in his eyes and his ears. So just a moment ago, he blinked a few times, and his ears were forward there for a little while. Now they're back a little bit, now they're coming forward again. His head position is a little lower too, so that tells me that he's not totally relaxed right now, but he's at least a little bit more comfortable with what I'm presenting to him. See that little head change right there? He's noticing me, head comes up a little bit, but then the ears are coming forward and he's blinking again. So these are really good signs that I need to continue moving on. You can see here the benefit of having my rope halter and rope on underneath of my bridle. I don't want to be leading my horse by the bridle, especially when I know I may need to be doing some circles around this mounting block, which you will see here in the future. So it's nice to have my rope there, but then my bridle's already on and ready to go, so then if I am ready to mount, I can mount and I have my bridle ready. When he looked at me a moment ago, I could tell that he was just a little bit concerned, so I decided to wait one moment and then release my pressure before I push him to the point of moving away. And now here I am just trying to stand and relax. He thought it was an invitation, so I'm just going to ask him to go one step back and then we're going to relax. And at this point I cut the video and come back to you in a few minutes. About 5 to 10 minutes passed between the last clip and this clip. So you see here I am repositioning the horse, and what I did during that time was I walked him around a little bit. I practiced the same thing going up and down on the mounting block. So here I am getting prepared to move up on the block a little further, but see, never without a rub and just a way to physically let him know where I'm at. So you see I'm still rubbing on the saddle, on his butt, on his neck and shoulders, and just continuing to help him feel relaxed. You can see his expression change right here, and that's happening because I was patting the saddle. Then something catches his attention and he looks the other way. Now right here is when he says, maybe this is too much for me. So I make the choice to just move him back to where he was. And then see how I slowly let the rope down so there's no big jerk in the halter. And then I go back to where I was. I think it's important to note that I'm using touch as a way to connect with this horse and help him feel relaxed. But granted, not every horse likes to be touched, but I think it's the way you touch them. So I like to use nice rhythmic movements in my hands, more of a rub. Sometimes I'll scratch, but I try to avoid patting and slapping and making unpredictable movements with my hands. However, I am patting the saddle before I get on here because I need him to be aware of different sounds and feelings up there on the saddle. And I want to note that something that triggered him moving around here is also because I put my foot in the stirrup and put a little bit of pressure, which is the next thing that I will do as he becomes more relaxed. But you can see that got a little bit uncomfortable for him. So he moved off, and instead of coming down from the mounting block, I decided just to move him around while I was still standing on it. You can see we got a little bit of a stuck point. And this is something we're trying to work on, is stopping straight versus stopping by curling his head around me. But you can see this just looks like a little bit of some gear grinding because we're just not totally on the same page with some of this stuff. But that's okay. So here you can see I'm just taking a moment to rub him, and I found that he's a little uncertain of having his ears touched. So I worked on that just a little bit. Here I am doing little pats just to make sure he's okay with hearing and feeling that. It's not the first thing I like to do to gain trust and connection, but it is something that I will do later on just to make sure he's okay with it, because we never know what kind of rider he's going to end up with. So here I am trying to get him positioned better again. So right there I kind of give him a big release, because what's important is that he didn't, again, curl his head around me and swing the hip out. He really was trying to stay as straight as possible and move forward as much as he knows how. So at this point I've decided that it's been long enough, so I'm going to work on putting my foot in the stirrup. You'll see how he moved away immediately. So right here I'm trying to get him repositioned. It's a tight spot. I'm asking tiny maneuvers of him, and he's used to giving big maneuvers. So you can see how we work this out, and this is just raw film. So here I felt like I got him in a position where I could at least reach my foot to the stirrup again. However, it's not really safe to be mounting from this spot, but it's enough that I can at least work on putting my foot in the stirrup a little bit. So you'll see me work on that just a teeny bit here. You'll notice that this whole mounting block thing, it starts at the very beginning. I started by just standing on the ground with him near it, then standing on the first step, then the second step, then putting the foot in the stirrup, and you see I'm just being super rhythmic right here. Nothing is unpredictable. And you see he's standing far longer than usual. And at this point, I decide to release the pressure and cut the video for a few minutes. So after a little walk and some more time practicing, I'm now bringing him back to the mounting block and getting closer to intentions of actually sitting on his back. I will not sit on their back until they stand for my foot in the stirrup, me climbing up on the mounting block, and even just me standing near them acting like I'm gonna get on. Notice a difference in his head position, difference in his ears, in his eyes, so he's a lot more relaxed right here in this moment than he was in the very beginning of this video. So after I put my foot in the stirrup and see that he's okay with me jumping a little bit on the mounting block, then I choose to go for the mount. Now this horse has been ridden before. People have mounted him. People get on him. This is my very first time with this horse specifically going to ride him. And maybe he steps away from mounting blocks with other people. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe it was just me because he doesn't know me well enough. But you can still see that this is what I'm doing to gain his trust. So at this point, I'm feeling like both of us are on the same page, that I can mount him, and he's feeling alright, and I'm feeling alright. And I'd say my presumption was pretty right, because he didn't move off. He hasn't thought about changing what he's doing. His head was up a little bit with some mild concern, but he's still blinking. So here I pick up my stirrup. I'm in no hurry. I'll sit here for a long time until he feels comfortable. So for one last time, at that point I cut the video, I took him for a little walk, and now I'm going to get ready to actually mount and go along with my ride. You can see here I'm doing the cavalry knot underneath of his neck, and then I will mount and then I will ride off. This is something that this mounting block, the feeling he has towards the mounting blocks, is something that I will work on every time I go to ride him. It's never something that I will skip, and you can see here that I'm really happy with my result. And this whole session was probably about 30 minutes or so of my time. But I've ridden him since, and I only had to spend 2 minutes. So it's about putting in the time that the horse needs, so that way you can have a better result. Now here I am taking my crop out and just touching him lightly everywhere so he knows that I have it. I don't want to surprise him. I use my crop sometimes to help with the shoulders and with the hips whenever I'm riding. And so right here, I decide that things are okay. His head's a little up, but that's alright, because once we start moving around, he'll find relaxation through his movement. And so then I ride off and we have our ride. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please visit our website, www.windyhillfarm.net. Thanks!